And today we have the good fortune of one of the great guitar players, and especially one that came out of MI, which makes it extra special, Jennifer Batten here. This is Jennifer.
Greetings.
There's Jennifer. So, Jennifer, maybe I can do this. I go back to, I hear this footsteps coming down the hall in the old 5850 at a funky little old building. I mean, that place was it was a terrible little place, but it was our home for the time being. And here's a little knock on the door, and a little face reaches around the corner and says, "Hello, are you Mr. Hicks?" And, yeah, and there's Jennifer, if I may, Jennifer, because you have a certainly more sophisticated look than you did then. You had a little stringy blonde hair, and little gold rimmed glasses, and I think she had a t-shirt and fatigues and army boots on. She was not about to be anything but a guitar player. That was her goal and her vision and what she was going to do. So she came in and sat down. Should I tell us or should you tell it? Do you remember it?
I'm enjoying your version.
Okay. Whether it's true or not, huh? Okay. So why don't you? Okay, when you came and sat down and you saw this balding guy across the table from you, what were you thinking at that time? Anyhow, what was going through your mind?
Actually, I had come up for you had advertised in Guitar Player magazine for a weekend guitar symposium, and I went up just to check it out, not having any idea that I would join the school. And I ended up auditioning when I was there and failing miserably.
Well, I asked you to play a G major 7th chord.
You remember that?
And you played an open G7 cowboy chord, and looked up at me like, huh? And I said, well, let's try something else. What's the 2 chord in the key of F? Okay, anyhow, go ahead. Tell how you were feeling at that time.
I had some schooling to do before I could go to your school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought I was an okay player. I had played since I was 8 years old, but taken lessons from people that were just teaching me songs. They never taught me the tools of the trade. So I went back to San Diego and woodshedded my butt off and learned what I needed to get into the school. Studied with Peter Sprague for 6 months, but it was really intense 6 months.
This was before you came to school?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I came and re-auditioned, I believe, and
you aced
got
it.
in.
You aced it then. I remember that. Yeah.
By the skin of my teeth.
Well, a little more than that. Anyhow, so then you got, okay, so that what did you were thinking, what did you feel when you saw this can't be a school? Did it look like a school to you? Or did you couldn't care less?
I was just eyes wide open. It was just kind of a fascinating world opening up to me. It was like joining the army, only for guitar players. Very, very, very intense, non-stop, 7 days a week. Do nothing but eat, play, and chew and chew and chew on guitar.
Well, I remember you, the folks would be going to the beach and partying and having a good time, and you're saying, no thanks, I'm here to work, and you just focused, you stuck your nose into the music, and that was, you never looked up for the year.
That's true, and I lived in a garage.
Yeah,
so.
I remember, and the rain came in, and
it flooded.
Flooded,
that was nasty.
And she'd be in a smelly carpet.
Oh yeah.
And ate top ramen.
Cooked my dinner on a Bunsen burner. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Oh my goodness. Oh.
That's true, man. I had so many Bunsen burners dinners.
Oh. So and I know this because I know you for many years. So you tell us a little bit about Joe Diorio and your interest in him and how he influenced you.
Well, at the symposium, all the guitar players that did the symposium played, and I just remember I was just really drawn to Joe when he played. There was just some other level going on. So I just kind of stuck to him like glue for the year, and took every word that he said like gospel. Even when he told me he had a pick he gave me, he said it was magic. Wow.
And you got to hold on to that magic pick.
And I lost it, and I was gutted.
Oh God, it'd kill you.
But hopefully enough rubbed off in the meantime. But he just opened up my ears. I mean, the whole school did, but especially him because he was so out there.
Yeah.
Very, very different sounding style.
how did you reconcile your music, whatever that was at that moment, and Joe Diorio, who was a one-off with his it wasn't his music, it was God's music is flowing
Right.
through him, you know, and how did you reconcile what you were thinking about playing, because you've certainly evolved into a much more different style player than
Yeah.
Joe, but
Well, God, before I took those lessons to get up to speed for GIT, I was playing Led Zeppelin and Doobie Brothers and Allman Brothers, and that kind of stuff was the epitome of guitar. Well, and Jeff Beck too. I had heard him before, so there was a whole other level going on there. But I mean, taking that leap, I was just like a sponge. It was all ears. It wasn't like I want to do rock and roll and I'm going to this school to become a better rock and roll player.
yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like I'm selling my rock and roll records and I want to be a jazz player. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, the whole year I listened to nothing but jazz. And one of the things Joe Diorio would say, you know, I think you should all listen to Charlie Parker 10 hours a day, but since you got all this other crap to do, maybe 2 is all you can do. So I would, 2 hours a day, absolutely. And he would give us the most ridiculous assignments, like playing some of the Charlie Parker melodies, which are difficult,
Yeah.
playing them with chord melodies.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Or playing them in every octave, or playing them backwards and all this stuff. And some of the most ridiculous requests, I was the only one that did it.
Oh, you did
'Cause I
exactly
was
what he said.
that gullible.
Oh my gosh, you believed every word.
I did.
Well, oh my goodness. And then you also, you had an experience in Howard Roberts' class. I think it was more on theory.
Yes.
Something. Do you remember that? Because you told me about that once. And
Yeah, that was frightening. That was, I think, the first day of class, the official day after I'd signed up and everything. And he had said that he would love to hook us all up with electrodes. It would be the fastest way to learn, because if he asked a question and we give the wrong answer or play the wrong note, we go zzz, and he wouldn't do that again.
Exactly.
And he goes, but it's probably against the law, so we're not going to do that.
That sounds like Howard Roberts.
But the closest thing to it was he was doing these theory tests, like what's a 3-chord in the key of C? What's a 5-chord in the key of F? I mean, really rapid fire. And I was, you know, just when I was getting the answer, he'd be on to another question. And for the first and luckily only time in my life, I ended up with hives. I looked on both arms. I'm just covered with hives from the stress of it.
God.
And I thought, there's no way I'm going to make it through this year. I'm just buried to day one.
Oh my God.
And then he went back to Seattle and things calmed down and
No, it took a
carried on.
Just wipe the sweat off your brow. Okay, Howard, stay up there for a while. Give me a break.
Yeah, he terrified me.
Yeah. Well, that was some tremendous influences on you, and
Yes.
I can talk. I'll let you talk about it now, but I certainly have heard you play recently, and all that influence or all that had that impact on you, and yet you don't sound anything like Diorio or Howard Roberts or anybody else in there. You sound like Jennifer. So how did you develop your own style? What was it that you finally started pointing towards that says, this is what I'm going to do?
Well, I really put all my efforts into jazz for quite a while, and then I realized I wasn't that great at it, and I ended up playing with different people, different bands that were playing different kinds of music. And I remember very vividly one time a bunch of us got together for a jam, and we started playing some jazz standards, and then somebody called out a funk tune or a fusion tune or something, and the energy just lifted. And I thought, wow.
Okay.
There's a lot to be said. All of a sudden, we're having way more fun because we're way better at this style. And then, I tried everything. Anybody that would call, I would try to do the gig. I ended up with I'd call it a fusion band that I played with for 3 or 4 years in San Diego. We were doing funk fusion and Jeff Lorber and George Duke and that kind of stuff. And then the same band, we wanted to make some more money, so we started playing cover music. So and then we play weddings where we do all of it.
Yes.
You know, you start with jazz for for grandma. No offense.
It's okay. I can accept that.
The old folks leave, and then you crank into the fusion, and then the people that are still around and have energy, we do the rock and roll. So I got a lot of experience playing with various bands, playing different kinds of music.
My gosh, that's wonderful. Also, Jennifer, I can toot your horn. At that year coming in with her very little background, but woodshed so hard to get into the school. But at the end of the year, if I remember correctly, you not only won the Outstanding Guitar Player of the Year award.
Most improved is the one I remember.
Was that what it was? Okay, well.
I might have got a couple. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
And then the other one was I think you played with Diorio there.
I did.
At graduation. Oh boy.
That was a ballsy move.
Come from that extreme start to ending up playing with the master was quite an accomplishment. Jennifer, towards the end of the year there, then, or no, actually it was about you finished school and then you went home.
Yeah.
And you woodshedded for a couple, 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you called one day and said, "You guys need another teacher." And I think I sent you to Tom Bartlett. And I said, "See what Tom needs," because Tom was director of education. And if you want to say what happened, you didn't have to audition or anything, did you, for him?
No. I think right when I called, Scott Henderson had gone on tour, so they did have a hole to fill. So I got in there right away. I was very lucky.
Good timing, good timing.
And I was also working as a security guard from midnight to 8.
Oh, there?
Not there, no. No, just to make ends meet to get into LA, get settled.
Okay, so then, then you started teaching. Now, was it around this time that you began? You started to work on your which you probably, I think, the best in the world with the two-handed tapping technique. Was that done?
No, I started that right after GIT, right after I graduated.
Really?
Because Steve Lynch is the one that turned me on to it, and he got inspired from Emmett Chapman giving the clinic during our year.
So he was right.
Yeah. He was developing that very early, and I couldn't wait to dig into it, but there was so much to deal with during the school year that I had to wait till after before I could really focus on it. But so that was 1979 I started tapping.
So that was before Van Halen, and I think
it was simultaneous.
Simultaneous?
Yeah, I think his first record came out that year.
What made you go with that direction? You were still picking, you were still playing standard guitar, but you had to, now you have two things to learn. One is to keep this right hand going, and the other is to get this going, right?
Yeah, I was just very attracted because it was fresh sounding, and at the time it was very new. And I was just attracted to new sounds like Joe Diorio's intervallic picking, that kind of stuff that just really grabs your ear, and you go, what is that? So the tapping was the same way, and I really dug into it nonstop.
You bet. So then from the tapping, that became a feature of yours at the school, do you think? Something your specialty they wanted. So Jennifer, there you were a teacher at MI and doing great and having a good time, but along comes a phone call from Michael Jackson to our little musicians referral service, and you and Steve Trovato, I think, and a few others went down and auditioned against, how many people were there?
I was told it was 100.
100 guitar players. And guess who came out on top was Jennifer. So Jennifer, from there, maybe a quick recap of that, your stay with Michael. How was that?
Oh God, it was the most amazing thing you can imagine. I mean, of all the bosses to work for.
Right.
I had a boss that the first place we went was Japan, and I think the first week of the tour he shut down the Tokyo Disneyland so we could all hang out together.
Oh God.
You know, you go over the roller coaster. Normally people wait for 2 hours to take a 2-minute ride on the roller coaster. We wouldn't wait. We'd get on it, and the ride would finish, and they'd go, well, want to go again? We were so spoiled. I mean, I was making, honestly, 10 times the money to play 2 or 3 times a week than I was working 7 days a week prior.
My goodness.
It was the most amazing thing you can imagine.
I think you once told me, but I can't remember, how many would you say number of people did you play in front of with
Typically stadiums are 50, 60,000.
50, 60,000? You did that for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So that multiplies into the millions.
Yeah, yeah, and then the Super Bowl, I can't remember what year it was, but that was aired to 1.5 billion people.
A billion?
Billion, 80 nations.
Yeah. So then from there you went on, you continued with that, and then that all came to an end, and what happened then?
I went back to teaching at MI. I worked with Michael for 10 years, and between every tour I came back to MI to teach. And did a lot of clinics. I toured a lot.
On your own then?
Yeah, doing clinics for guitar effects companies.
Mm-hmm. Then how about, when did Jeff Beck come along? After that?
1999. It wasn't that long after the last Michael Jackson tour, the History tour. I think there was about 6 months break. And it was kind of funny because I was thinking, man, I'm so burnt out on travel. Maybe I'll get out of the music business. And Jeff called, and I said, I was thinking of getting out of the music business. And he goes, well, can you wait?
Can you wait?
So
then Jeff Beck, for how long were you with Jeff?
3 years.
3 years.
It was very intense. 3 years, and my ears are shot from the volume. It was just crazy, man. I remember my ears would be hurting. I mean, they'd be hot before a sound check. Before because ears take 48 hours to repair, and we didn't have 48 hours. We'd go gig and then gig again. So I'm definitely have lost some frequencies
from that. Huh? So anyhow, Jennifer, you knew how you felt walking in down that long hall and into that office with this old guy here, and taking your audition and what you were up against going to the school. With that kind of an experience and background, what would you say now as a experienced professional? What would you say to a young person wanting to come into, let's say, MI or GIT? To study? What advice would you give them?
Come in with open ears and follow your passion and have a goal of changing the world.
Ooh, changing the world. Okay, that's a good one.
Or making your mark on the world.
Yeah. How about the workload? How would you cope with that? So Jennifer, beside kind of following your dream and keeping yourself focused on what it is you want to accomplish, what about the workload that you were up against? What kept you from that overwhelming you? Because I know how many students that have come through the school that have had to quit or almost quit because it was overpowering, overbearing amount of work to absorb. So how do you advise them to not give up? How do they deal with the workload that they get?
The first thing that comes to mind is from a Howard Roberts seminar where he was saying, you might look at the whole piece and go, oh my God, I can't play this. But if you take one bar, one small chunk at a time, and accomplish that, then add another bar and another bar, then you can do it.
Now, that sounds exactly right, and that's probably exactly what you did as far as taking that curriculum home with you. I would imagine, did you go back and...
Hell no.
No?
I did not open one notebook after I graduated.
Is that right?
I had the intention of doing that, but I did not.
You didn't? No. So what did you do in place of that?
I practiced my ass off 10 hours a day with an egg timer. And then eventually I got in bands and practiced all day and played all night. And I remember the egg timer. We had.
Tell about the egg timer.
Oh yeah, the egg timer was the bomb. I mean, that's the ultimate way to focus what you're doing. The classes were, I think 2.5 minutes to work on this arpeggio, 5 minutes to work on this, and then you had to keep going or you would get behind for the lesson plan after a class.
Mm-hmm.
And after the school was over, I would set my egg timer for 1 hour sight reading, 1 hour of ear training, 1 hour of arpeggios, and on until it would be 8 or 10 hours. And then as time went on, it was 1 hour of jamming, and then I'd reset the egg timer, another hour of jamming, and then another hour of jamming. I mean, we'd end up doing the fun stuff for a while.
That's how egg
until
timer
it was
hours
all
there.
jamming.
Okay, which is what music is. That's what it's all about anyhow, right?
Putting it to use, yeah.
Okay, well, by the way, Jennifer, today now, there's the Jennifer today. That's what she's doing out there. Maybe take a minute and talk about what's in on your agenda today. Your music and your career. How's that going?
Well, gosh, I mean, after playing with Michael Jackson and Jeff Beck, I kind of had a midlife crisis, and what the hell is next? You know, do I get out of music? Do I continue with music? And I finally came up with the idea that I didn't want to play with a band. That just gives me hives to think of being a band leader and reeling them in and calling people and hearing about the cancellations and people showing up and not knowing the music. So I came up with a way to go out and tour on my own, which was essentially to play with tracks that are embedded in videos. So I cut the videos. I learned how to do videos, and I cut everything to the beat. So it's not just some random video that plays like a TV show. It's, you know, things that cut to the beat. And I did that for 5 years, and now this summer I'm reworking the whole show to be all Michael Jackson songs, and I'm learning to DJ as well. So I'll play the song, intercut with Michael's vocals, and then between the songs I'm DJing, you know, various drum loops with his stuff, and then go on to another song with a video. So it's very high-tech, modern, computer, geeky-ass stuff, but I still get to play. I still get to jam to my heart's content and entertain
Your album,
people.
Whatever, which is now a couple years old, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
But anyhow, she sent me a copy of it, and here I am. She should be telling this, but she doesn't want to toot her own horn. I'm going to toot it for her. I heard Flight of the Bumblebee, tapping fingers down this way, and I go back into the days when Flight of the Bumblebee was a classical piece, and then it was a boogie woogie, by the way, back in the 40s, with Freddie Slack. But then her version of it was just mind-boggling. It's the only word I can think of, or a description of somebody playing flawlessly an extremely difficult piece. That to me epitomized what this lady has accomplished musically and technically on the instrument. You're talking about high tech. Oh, you were talking about computers, but that's just the underlying of who Jennifer is. It's the music that's in her heart and soul that's coming out, and we're so blessed to have her come to MI and GIT and all the gifts and contributions that you made. I really appreciate that and love you for that. And I know all the students, the graduates, everybody knows that about you, and I'm sure they feel like I do, that you've kind of pioneered a lot of music for us all and set the stage. And modern MI today, which Jennifer comes to occasionally and still does workshops for them, is still the same school, different, more sophisticated, a lot more production work going on there. But some of the old-time instructors that were there in the beginning are still there. Some of the graduates, like Jennifer, not Jennifer in this case, but others that were in the school back in 1980 are still teaching there 30 years later.
Half my class is still there.
Their careers, and so they brought with them the old MI and mixed it up with a new, blended it with a new MI that's, like I said, a more sophisticated program. But still the heart and soul of that school is still there. So I want to thank you all for coming, listening to Jennifer and me talk about the good old days, and wish you all well as we move on down the line. So thank you very much.